All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Tonight, we got the pleasure of having Brother Elijah Hanks with us tonight. And Brother Hanks, starting off, man, would you please give your name, tag, and a quick bio of yourself and family?
Okay, thank you, brothers. Well, glad to be here. My name is Elijah Hanks Jr. I'm one of three. My dad's senior, my son's the third, I'm junior. I'm Phi Beta Upsilon, spring 1988. I'm a retired military officer with 25 years, 9 months served. I have a bachelor's degree in computer information systems and a master's in management. I'm a Air Command and Staff College graduate and Air War College graduate. Okay.
All right. And what traditions did your father pass on to you that you would pass on to your children?
Well, the biggest one would be hard work, man. It pays off. My dad was, he worked 2 jobs, there's 7 of us. He worked 2 jobs. He always made time to, and I was an athlete growing up, so he made time to come to my games and support me and my siblings and all the endeavors that we were doing at that time. Even though I know he was tired sometimes, but he continued to do that. He used to, we call it the country. He used to make us go. My dad was from Greensboro, Alabama. Every summer we had to go down to Greensboro to visit my grandmother, our cousins and uncles and aunts and the people. He wanted to make sure we kept that connection with family. So if anything, that was probably the most important thing. You work hard, but you make sure you spend time and put time in with your family.
All right. Thank you for that. Moving on to the next question. Now, what was one of the hardest moments you had being a father, and why was it hard?
Well, I can't say anything about being hard, man. I've enjoyed spending. My kids are wonderful. I love them to death. And probably one of the harder things for me was being a military officer, moving them around a lot and not giving them an opportunity to establish some roots and kind of, make friends along the way sometimes. I remember when my son was really, really young, having to, I guess he was just annoyed being in the house. Well, I said, son, go outside and play with your friends. He's like, Dad, I don't have any friends. And I remember then that, man, all this moving around is not good for them. They need to establish some roots. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I did retire, so that they could have an opportunity to call a place home. Like I grew up in the same house all my life. Call a place home, make some friends, and do the things that normal kids should be able to do. So I wouldn't call, like I said, I wouldn't call it hard. It just goes with the opportunity at serving. But I do think that was hard for them along the way. I remember coming home from a deployment, and I had been gone so long, my son didn't even know who I was. Every time I tried to come to him, he would run away from me. So yeah, I definitely think that was really hard, being away from your family sometimes. So thanks.
Okay, all right. What world events have had the most impact on you as a father?
Well, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and I remember vividly when Dr. Martin Luther King, I was a young kid when Dr. King was killed on April the 4th of 1968. And I remember we were told to go outside. Everybody was crying and mad. It felt like a family member had died. I didn't know at that time what was going on, but as I aged, I understood the struggles for equality and just decency in people that Dr. King was trying to advance as far as civil rights for Blacks. And that stuck with me everywhere I eventually going off to college and just going on to my own life. That stuck with me, and I try to carry that torch in everything that I do. And another thing that I do remember vividly that kind of shaped my military career, I was a cadet in ROTC in college in January of 1986 was when our brother, I wasn't an Omega yet, but we were in leadership lab in ROTC in college, and we watched the shuttle Challenger explode in midair, and it just blew my mind. And at that time, I did not know Brother McNair was an Omega until later, but that just made me really, really focus and understand that the importance of what we're doing every day is life or death.
Okay. The next question. Why did you choose your career? What made you choose it?
Well, Well, I didn't choose my career. It chose me. I was an athlete growing up. And my freshman year, I lost my scholarship. I had knee issues. So at that time, now I was always, my mother was a school teacher, so I was an excellent student. This Alpha, who was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, used to sit in the stands. We practiced. And I remember him asking me, he said, "Hey, you ever thought about ROTC?" I said, "Nah, that's not for me." And he kept asking me, And once I realized that I wasn't going to be able to play football anymore, he said, "You need to come to my office and sit down and talk to me." And that's kind of how I became a cadet, and that's how ROTC in the military became my life, because he saw something in me, and just being a good student. He offered me an ROTC scholarship, and that's how I became who I am today. So yeah, it's funny how things work out, because I had no intention. Just wear the uniform was not even me. But I've kind of, those are the things that you kind of understand later on, because there are things as civilian that you can do that you can't do in the military. Just simple things that most people would, just writing, bouncing a check, or smoking weed, or getting a DUI. There's just things that you have your hope. You're being held to a higher standard, and morally and honorably, as well as respectfully. So you have to make sure you carry that torch as the best you can.
Okay, okay. How has your career affected your decision making as a father?
Well, it definitely gave me a strong sense of family. You know, I just wanted to make sure that my kids had all the opportunities to do all the things that I probably didn't get to do growing up. I wanted to make sure that they were going to be strong academically, economically, and emotionally, to prepare them for whatever career they choose and whatever life holds for them. So being able to do some of those things, and also, the GI Bill was a big one for me. Being able to give them that, and also having a college fund for them, so they wouldn't have to figure out what they were going to do to go to school or do whatever they were choosing their career. So those are kind of some of the things that I really affected me, as I wanted to make sure that I was paving that way for them.
Okay, okay. All right. What is something that you would want your children and grandchildren to remember about you?
Mm. Well, I would want my children. Well, just making sure that they understood that even though there was a lot of people that didn't have opportunities they probably are getting because of the positions that my wife and I have put them in. But I want them to understand that there's still people out there that are less fortunate, and that they need to understand how to be charitable, give back, and also be supportive of things that they don't understand, like what's going on in Ukraine right now. It's just sometimes the news and the TV and all that stuff sensationalize things. But I want them to understand that the athletes and the entertainers and all those guys, that everybody has a piece, and look up. You guys look up to them, but for me, look at those examples and some of the other people that you see doing things that are positive, even though they don't get any credit for it. But we try to highlight those things for our kids.
Okay, okay. In what ways are your children alike or different from you?
Alike, they have a strong sense of family. My kids, they get it. They argue with each other a lot, but they look out for each other, and that's something that Kim and I have instilled in them, and I'm glad that they do it now. So one day we may not be around, and they'll still have that same bond. My daughter reminds me so much of my mother and her mannerisms, and just my mother died in 2007, and my son was born in 2007. So those things relate to me, because I was at an emotional low point, and having him being born right around that same time kind of really, kind of gave me a focus or a sense of a direction and a purpose that I needed to keep going. And I was a commander at the time in the military, so I had a lot of things going on, and a war was going on. So those are my kids, and they don't ask me a lot about the things that my service and all. And I try not to share them or burden them with those things. But as they get older, when they do ask, I will share as much of it. And I'm glad that they're picking up the athletic gene, because I want them to be socially and physically fit as well. So that's a good thing on that part. And my wife is a brainiac, and they get a lot of that academic stuff from her too. So that's very helpful. Those are those things I think that we're passing on to them. But most importantly, making sure that they understand that generational wealth is very important. So, you hear all the time about people dying and they don't have any money to bury their family members. They got to have plate sales and all those things. I want to make sure we leave them some things that they can have and pass on to their kids, and their kids can pass on to them.
Okay. This is the last question. What advice would you give to young fathers?
Well, every man's situation is uniquely different, and just depending on whether you a single dad, you're married, or how your socioeconomic status is. But the most important thing that you can do as a father is be present. That's to me is the most important thing you can be present. And then after that, be a positive example. And as I talked about, don't let the TV and athletes and rappers and entertainers determine what your kids look up to and what they like, how they dress, where they head. You be that example, be that positive example, and ask questions and listen to your kids. You'd be surprised what they pick up from you and from others, so you can kind of vector them as you need to. But you can't do that unless you talk to them, you're around them, and you ask those questions. And most importantly, I know my son's a teenager now. He don't like it much, but tell your kids you love them. I tell them that all the time, because you never know that time you may not be there, or them. And you want to make sure they always know that they're loved.
Mm-hmm. Understand that. You always got to tell mine I love them too. Got to tell them.
Yeah, and growing up, especially where I grew up, your dad was there. He gave you the things you needed, but just hugging you and telling you you love the kid was something that they just didn't do back in the day. And I've tried to break that as much as I could, because I want my son to know it. He's embarrassed by it. And when he had a track meet last night. I try to encourage him and let him know I love him.
Yeah. How did the track meet go last night?
Well, there were like 7 schools, Clark, Stevens, a lot of schools were in, so they did very well overall. There were some schools with some, like Clark girls, they can run, and a few others. So he participated in the high jump, and he ran the 100, and he was a backup on the 4x100 relay. But he ran the 400 and did the high jump. He came in second place, and he's the only freshman that was running. My son's a freshman, running against 11 and 12 graders. Right. So he did very well.
Okay. All right, it's good to hear. That was the last question. Open it up to Jazz, Alan. Y'all got any words?
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, no, only thing I have to add, man, is that I tell everybody I learned something from every interview, and the experiences that you've shared, it just makes everybody's knowledge base as a father grow, because nobody knows everything, and we can always learn from everybody's experiences. So I just really appreciate you coming on, bro Hanks. And just on the side note for myself, I need to get with you. I'm gonna make an honest effort to do that.
Well, that would be good, brother. I'm not definitely want to get to spend. We hadn't really had a chance to spend any holiday time since you got in, and that'll be good to do, bro. I look forward to it.
All right. Jazz, you got a word?
Yeah, man, I have one question, man, Bro Hanks. For a young father like myself, coming up, what's some advice that you gained through your years that you could pass down to me as I grow and nurture my young ones?
The first one you're doing right now, bro. I used to have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to work. My daughter would cry. She'd wake up in the middle of the night and nobody could console her or make her go back to sleep. So at that 3 o'clock, it was me. And, I would just hold her up here, pat her, and she finally fall asleep maybe an hour later. And then I have to shower, get on, put my uniform on and hit it. You just, like I said, be there. That's the most important thing a man can do for their kids is be there. I know sometimes that's challenging when you got issues with your significant other or their mom, if it's, but still, don't let that deter you. You need to be a part of that kid's life because you don't want a judge or anybody else trying to tell you how you're supposed to spend time with your kids. You need to do that. You made time with her when you was with her. You make that time with her to make sure your kids get to see you and be present in their lives.
Good to
and
go,
you're
brother.
doing that. Always do that, even when they get older, bro. Keep on doing that. They ain't gonna want you hugging them. My daughter don't like for me to. When I pull up to the school, she want me to pull up over real close so she can jump out before. I roll the window down and holler, "I love you." Oh man, you gotta see her run. Things that I love, brother.
Gotcha. I appreciate it, brother.
Right.
All right. We turn over to our brother chairman, brother Ice. You got a few words?
Hey, what's up, brother HD? How you doing?
All right, brother.
I really want to thank you for taking the time out your busy schedule for this. I know one of the main initiatives, a fatherhood initiative, is close the gap of absenteeism, but we also want to celebrate those dads that's doing a great job and also get knowledge and wisdom from everybody because all the fathers have different perspectives. So with that said, I really appreciate you taking your time, and our goal is every other month to interview a dad, whether it's an Omega dad, a dad out of the society. We just want to make sure that we continue to do that. Over.
This is good, brother. When LeMarc sent me the text, I thought he made it for somebody else. I don't know if he told you. I was like, because I know that, brother, you did Brother Camel and Brother Nance, but I still feel like one of the younger brothers. Even though I got 35 years as a brother, but I appreciate this opportunity, and it made me reflect on some things as well. So good on you, brothers, and I appreciate you asking and giving me some time.
We appreciate you too.
All right, brother Hanks. Like I say it again. I thank you. I appreciate you. Taking the time to do this interview with us. Thank you for your wisdom and insight. And we're gonna keep this interview. And like I said, we're gonna post it in the chapter. Probably post it on YouTube and Facebook. And just try to help fathers out there. And like Alan said, every interview we always get something from it. Everybody say something different, and we always get something from it. And that's what I love about doing these interviews with different brothers, and we're gonna keep it going. So I just want to say thank you for your time. Also, thank you for your service, and just know that there's brothers out there that's looking up to you as a dad.
Well, thank you, brothers, man. And if there's anything you need from me, Ice, all you got to do is call me, or any help or anything I can do to keep moving this forward. I'm all in, brothers.
I really appreciate that. And I had a good conversation with Dave last week. So I said, hey, if I need some assistance, especially with the backyard caucus and things like that, I will definitely reach out to you and Dave because I really need your circle of influence.
Okay. Sounds good, bro.